Hello out there, and a couple new knives to talk about today, but before I do that, I want to give a quick thanks to everyone who gave me their feedback and their opinions on the video last week where I was asking about the kind of things that you would like to see on this channel. I got a lot of really good ideas, some great feedback and stuff that I will definitely be incorporating into a lot of future videos. And one of those things is actually going to be covered today, and that is a question that I've sort of brought up but never really addressed, which is why I carry my knives on the right side instead of the left, despite the fact that I'm left-handed. So we're going to address that at the end of this video. I will give a little bit of an annotation in the description as to what time that starts, if that's what you're really interested in. And I'll use these knives and a couple others for examples when I'm talking about, you know, why I choose to carry the way that I do. But getting back to these two knives, I got these at the same time, and they're sort of tied together because I got the Ganzo to replace a Ganzo that I lost in a trade for the zero tolerance. So let's talk about the Ganzo first. And I'm calling it a Ganzo, but actually it is a Firebird made by Ganzo, which makes this knife pretty interesting because I've seen this Firebird logo on a number of Ganzos, but I think that now they've gone completely to rebranding and separating the Firebird brand from the Ganzo brand, which is really neat. You know, it looks like it's its own line now, as you can see, made by Ganzo, and this says F756 instead of G, which the regular Ganzos have in front of them. And this is a pretty cool knife, guys. The packaging is even different too. If you take a look at the box here, it says Firebird made by Ganzo, designed by Firebird. And you've got a different kind of baggie, a really nice like Benchmade-esque kind of baggie for the knife, which is neat. So I think this might be Ganzo's way of having a little bit more of a higher end kind of knife. I'm guessing with the blue anodized hardware here and these green inserts in the G10. So I'm definitely going to do a review of this knife at some point. I mean, the most important thing for me is going to be how this axis lock functions. You know, that's been my big thing with them, is just the quality of that. But so far, it seems to be very good. I've carried this knife for one day, and the day that I got it, it actually gave me this. So we know it's sharp. The 440C is sharp and, yeah, is in pretty darn good shape. But, yeah, I was using it to unbox this zero tolerance, and, yeah, I cut myself because I'm an idiot. So there's that. But we know that the Firebird here is, like I said, a sharp knife and pretty well built. One other thing I want to do before I move on to the ZT, though, is I want to do a size comparison. And in the review, I'm sure I'll go a lot more in depth with this. But you might have noticed already a resemblance to the Benchmade 940 here. So let's take a look at that. Because as you can see, although these are really similar knives in terms of basic design, the size is extremely different. You know, we have extra blade length on the Firebird and extra overall length as well, and then thickness also, which is pretty neat because I've seen some exact copies come out of like the Ganzo factory, which is just fine. You know, not a huge issue with that stuff. I'll address that in future videos, I think, but it's really nice to see, you know, their own take on it and their own size, because this makes the knife feel like its own thing compared to the Benchmade. And I really like to see that because this carries differently. It feels different in the hand. Yeah, it feels a little bit more substantial than a 940. And I like that. So yeah, gonna have a lot of fun using this as my new beater. And again, I'll explain why in just a second. Because this ZT, I got in a trade off of Instagram, and I got it at an incredibly good deal. All right, I gave up the Ganzo 729, which was gonna be my beater knife, but I never really got around to beating up. Another Ganzo, and then a Spyderco Delica 4. So didn't give up a whole lot to get this knife, and it's in wonderful shape, just about brand new, and it's the real deal. It's legit. And, you know, I got it from a really reputable dealer, so even though, you know, there's a little bit of uneasiness anytime you do a trade on Instagram with someone you don't know, I had a lot of confidence in it, and it's worked out just fine. So a beautiful knife here. When I was talking about doing this trade with this gentleman, I was talking about it to a couple people on Instagram, and they were like, "Oh, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to anodize it? Are you going to do like, some kind of acid etch?" And sometimes when I get a knife like this, I get it for the purpose of modifying, because you have sort of a plain knife in a lot of ways. When you have an all gray color or all silver colored, regardless of what the materials are, and this one being titanium, would be really good to anodize. But some knives just don't need it. Some knives are just great the way that they are. And looking at this knife, even though it is sort of one color, it's not plain at all. It's not. It's great. I love this knife just the way that it is, so zero plans to mess with it at all. Yeah, I'm definitely going to hold on to this one for a while. It wasn't on the top of my list by any means, but the trade that I had was too good to pass up. And, I offered to throw more items in to even it out, and the person I was trading with was really happy with what we decided on. So that is what it is. And that door's open if anything needs to get added to it to even it out in the future. But for now, yeah, here we are. I've got this ZT0808. Happy with it, going to carry it. Not sure if I'll end up doing a review because there is a lot of stuff out there already, so I don't know if you need my review of this, but probably will find a way to squeeze my opinions about this one onto the channel at some point. All right, so now, like I said, and I will annotate this this time in the description, now I just want to slide into talking about my carry. All right, and my carry is pretty simple. I'm left-handed. I carry my knives on the right side. Might be a little bit weird, but it's just the way I've always done it. And I do it for one big reason, and that's consistency. All right, because there are some knives that I want to have in my collection that I can't carry on the left side. This is one of them, the Kershaw Sapphire. A recent acquisition. It's been on my list for a long time, and then I finally got it thanks to a really nice viewer who sent it. And yeah, this only has a pocket clip for right side carry. So this would never have been on my list if I carried on the left side. And so what I do is I carry all of my knives on the right side so that there is no back and forth, because if we're looking at this ZT again, this ZT has a reversible clip. Right side tip up, left side tip up. Great. So if you're left-handed, you can carry it in your left pocket. This one as well. You can see the holes for the left side tip up. Great. But if you're going to have these two knives in your collection and this one, then you're going to have to go back and forth between carrying on your left side and your right side. And that doesn't make any sense to me. None whatsoever. I want consistency. If I have to put a knife in one pocket one day and then in another pocket the other day, then that's going to move around where the other stuff in my pockets goes. My keys, my phone, all that stuff, right? And again, I really need consistency and just to know where things are. I can only imagine how frustrating it would be to work a different way. So if I'm not going to do it that way, then I have a couple other options. Number one is I carry knives like this, with the right side clip in my left pocket. And that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but I've tried it and it's just a little bit weird. It's just weird. It doesn't, the way that the knife opens and just the configuration of everything doesn't work for me. And if there are people out there who carry the knife in the right side configuration in their left pocket, please let me know in the comments down below how that works out for you, because I'm really curious about that. All right, but that's option number one, and I sort of ruled that out. And then the other option is, hey, I'm just not going to get those knives. If it doesn't have left side carry, I'm not going to get those knives. So one of the knives that would have been ruled out would be this Kershaw Sapphire. And then another one that just happened to be sitting on my desk, which would be ruled out, is this CRKT No Time Off. All right, so here's the No Time Off. One position pocket clip. It's for right side tip down. And yeah, I would never own this knife. And for me, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. There's these two knives are great knives that I am really happy to have in my collection. And I would never own them if they, if I had that kind of opinion. Oh, well, no left side carry, so no purchase. Can't do that. I'm not that guy. You know, I'm not going to miss out on stuff that I think is cool for that reason. So what I've done is I've just adapted. You know, and as a left-handed person, there's just a lot of adapting that you have to do. And once you get used to it, you forget you ever did it. But, you know, I carry all my knives on the right side. So moving these out of the way, let's bring the Firebird back in. So this will be in my right pocket. And if I need the knife, I pull it out and move it over to my left hand and cut. It's pretty simple, you know, and very rarely am I ever in a position where I need to cut anything right now at this moment and it's inconvenient. You know, I get used to doing it and it's not a big deal. If I need to cut something quickly, I can pull it out of my pocket and cut with my right hand. I mean, that's possible. And I've gotten pretty decent at cutting right-handed just because of that. But unless I'm ever in a tactical situation, I don't see why that movement from right hand to left is ever going to be a big deal. You know, and I've never been in a tactical situation, and I'm sure there are going to be people who say, well, you know, once you are, if it ever happens to you, you'll know why. And I get that, but if I wasn't carrying a knife as a tool, I wouldn't be carrying one as a defense weapon. Does that make sense? You know, so I don't carry a knife for that reason. Am I glad to have it? Does it give me a little bit of a sense of protection? Sure. But if I wasn't going to use it in my day-to-day operations as a tool, then I wouldn't have one at all. So yeah, if I am in a tactical situation or if I do need it on the fly like that, then you know I'll hopefully adjust and make it work in the moment. But like I said, anytime I have needed it quickly, been able to pull it out, cut real quickly with my right hand, then move over to my left and use it for further cutting if that's necessary. So yeah, that's sort of how I do it, and that's an explanation as to why. Any lefties out there or any righties with any kind of insight as to what might be a better way or any way that you do it or anyone who you know who does it differently, let me know, because I'm really interested in that. You know, I just figured this style that I have out on my own. I didn't talk to anyone about it. So yeah, any other ways would be really interesting for me to hear. Any other questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know. I have a ton of stuff on the ways, guys, a lot of stuff. Kershaw released a few knives just recently, and I've ordered a few of those, so those should be on the way. It's the Malt, the Hops, the Reverb. Those are all on the way to me right now. And I've also got a couple other knives that are going to be used for my copies, clones, and counterfeits video. So that's cool. I mean, just a lot of pretty neat stuff right now. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. I will talk to you soon. Take care.